The story of the USS Eldridge and the Philadelphia experiment is one of the most intriguing and controversial mysteries of the 20th century. It all starts in 1943, during the height of World War II. The U.S. Navy was desperately searching for ways to protect its ships from enemy radar and U-boat attacks, and some believe they turned to more radical, secretive experiments to gain the upper hand. According to the legend, one of these experiments took place in the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard, involving a newly built destroyer escort, the USS Eldridge. The experiment, intended to make the ship invisible to enemy radar, reportedly went horribly wrong, leading to extraordinary, almost unbelievable consequences. This event would later become known as the Philadelphia experiment, and the USS Eldridge would be forever linked to one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the modern era. The claim goes that the USS Eldridge didn't just disappear from radar, it vanished entirely, physically disappearing from the shipyard in Philadelphia and reappearing hundreds of miles away in Norfolk, Virginia. After a brief time there, it supposedly teleported back to Philadelphia, leaving behind a crew who had suffered horrifying aftereffects. But is there any truth to this sensational tale? Was the USS Eldridge really part of a secret military experiment gone wrong? Or is this just a legend born from conspiracy and misinformation? The Philadelphia experiment begins with a man named Carl M. Allen, also known as Carlos Allende. In 1955, Allen wrote a series of letters to UFO researcher Morris K. Jessup, claiming to have witnessed the events surrounding the USS Eldridge. He described in vivid detail how the Navy had conducted an experiment to render the ship invisible using powerful electromagnetic fields. Allen claimed that he saw the Eldridge disappear from the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard and then reappear in Norfolk before vanishing again, this time returning to its original location. According to Allen's account, the experiment had disastrous results for the crew. Many of the sailors were said to have suffered severe physical and psychological effects from the event. Some were allegedly fused with the metal of the ship, trapped in the bulkheads and decks. Others were driven insane or disappeared entirely, never to be seen again. Allen's claims were shocking, and although Jessup initially dismissed them as a hoax, the story began to gain traction, especially after Jessup's work was mysteriously reprinted by the Navy's Office of Naval Research. This strange connection to the Navy fueled speculation that there might be some truth behind the Philadelphia experiment. Over the years, the story has evolved, with more details and embellishments being added to the tale. Some versions of the story suggest that the Navy was experimenting with a technology called electromagnetic invisibility, or cloaking, designed to bend light and radar waves around an object, rendering it invisible. Others claim that the experiment involved time travel, with the ship briefly shifting into another dimension or traveling through time during its disappearance. So, what evidence exists to support these extraordinary claims? First, it's important to look at the official history of the USS Eldridge. According to naval records, the USS Eldridge was commissioned in August 1943, during World War II. It was part of a class of destroyer escorts built for the Navy to protect convoys and other ships from enemy submarines. The ship saw active duty in the Atlantic and Mediterranean theaters and was eventually decommissioned after the war. At no point in its official history is there any mention of the ship disappearing, teleporting, or being involved in any secret experiments. Additionally, the Navy has consistently denied that any such experiment took place. In 1999, the Naval Historical Center released an official statement dismissing the Philadelphia experiment as a hoax. The Navy explained that the supposed disappearance of the USS Eldridge was likely a misunderstanding based on routine convoy movements between Philadelphia and Norfolk, where ships would often leave one port and arrive in the other within hours, thanks to secret military routes. So, if the Philadelphia experiment never happened, where did the story come from? Many believe the story originated from a combination of misunderstandings, fabrications, and the growing fascination with UFOs and government conspiracies in the 1950s. Carl Allen, the primary source of the story, was known for his erratic behavior and wild claims. His letters to Morris Jessup contained numerous inconsistencies and contradictions, leading some researchers to conclude that Allen had either invented the story or was misinterpreting what he had seen. One plausible explanation for the origins of the Philadelphia experiment involves the Navy's actual research into electromagnetic fields during World War II. The Navy was indeed experimenting with degaussing, a process that used electromagnetic fields to make ships less vulnerable to magnetic mines and torpedoes. This technique, however, had nothing to do with invisibility or teleportation, and its effects were strictly related to reducing the ship's magnetic signature. It's possible that stories about these electromagnetic experiments were exaggerated or misinterpreted over time, leading to the creation of the Philadelphia experiment myth. As the story spread, it became entangled with other popular conspiracy theories, including those involving UFOs, government cover-ups, and secret military technology. Another key factor in the spread of the Philadelphia experiment story is the mysterious death of Morris Jessup, the researcher who initially received Carl Allen's letters. Jessup had been studying UFO phenomena and the potential for advanced propulsion systems when he was found dead in 1959, apparently from suicide. However, his death fueled speculation that he had uncovered something the government didn't want him to reveal, something related to the Philadelphia experiment. This tragic event only added to the mystique surrounding the story. And as time went on, more and more people became convinced that the Navy had engaged in something far more sinister and advanced than it was willing to admit. Despite the lack of hard evidence, the Philadelphia experiment continues to captivate the imaginations of conspiracy theorists and paranormal enthusiasts. It has been the subject of countless books, documentaries, and even a 1984 science fiction film. The story of a ship vanishing from sight, its crew lost to the horrors of a botched military experiment, taps into our deepest fears about technology, war, and the unknown. But at the end of the day, what are we left with? A few letters from a man with questionable credibility, inconsistent eyewitness accounts, and a compelling but unverified legend. The USS Eldridge and the Philadelphia experiment remain one of the most fascinating unsolved mysteries of our time. While the official record dismisses it as fiction, the story continues to thrive in the realm of conspiracy theories and the paranormal. Was the Philadelphia experiment a government cover-up or just a myth? Let us know what you think.